Whenever I was making my New Year's resolutions, like a couple years back, I knew that I had been making some bad food choices and I felt bad about myself. I'd say like a week into it, maybe, it started as little things. So like I would just be eating like a normal meal that fit into the amount of calories I was eating, which wasn't enough. And I would start to hear things in the back of my head that were like, you shouldn't be doing this. Like, why are you doing this? You don't deserve this. I was already signed up for Youth X, so I was going with a friend, so I was like, okay, I'll just like go through. I know that there's a lot of like testimonies coming out from like camps like this and getting closer to God, so I thought I'll go, give it a chance. It was like the first time in a long time that I had felt like normal again, and my head was clear, like I wasn't hearing anything.
I wasn't thinking about my wife and a home. I wasn't thinking about following after God's purpose and investing in my gifts right now. I was thinking about impressing people who didn't even care about me. And what I did is I depleted what God had given me trying to impress people who don't even care about me. And I wish somebody would have told me, hey, don't make decisions based on how you feel right now. Make decisions based on who you want to be 10 years from now.
The Sunday after I got baptized, and it was like the most amazing thing ever. The day after I got baptized and got home, I started feeling bad again, and it was worse than it had ever been, and the voices were like louder and stronger. I just remember like before school just thinking to myself, like, I really can't do this, like I cannot. And I'd come home and I would just lay in my room with the door closed, like in the dark with like Netflix on for hours until I went to bed. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to be downstairs in the kitchen near food. Every time I would go and pick up that spoon or the fork to eat it, I would hear all these awful things about myself. I was in like a pretty serious relationship, and then I went through a breakup in the beginning of November. And I just remember that like set me off the edge. I felt like I couldn't really trust anybody after that because I didn't know what they were going to do with what I told them. It was kind of like I thought that I didn't need to thrive. It was like I was fighting my like survival needs and like what everybody needs, like a basic like function. I was like denying myself that, and I thought it doesn't matter if I thrive. I don't need to thrive. As long as I can survive and like look good, then I'm fine. Every like moment just sitting in school, I was like I could like feel my heart like right there, and it felt like so like fragile. I was scared that I was just gonna like die any minute. I just remember my mom, I was texting her like, I just can't do this. Like I just can't do like life anymore. My mom left work early and said she was crying all day and she'd been praying all day. And right after one of the times that she finished praying, she heard a voice in her head saying, text Candace. And she heard it again, like text Candace. It was like really strong. So she was like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll just give anything a chance at this point.
Camryn's twin brothers, Avery and Tyler, play soccer with my son, Xavier. And they've been playing on the same soccer team for a couple years. So I've seen Camryn on and off the fields at games. One day, out of the blue, I get a text message from her mom. She said, I don't know why I'm reaching out to you. I just feel like God's telling me that I need to tell you. And she was asking me to pray for Camryn, and she didn't know what else to do. I called her, and we spoke for over an hour on the phone about what was really going on with her eating disorder and where she was at. I just had so much. It hurt me that that Satan was able to whisper all these really hurtful things and was allowed to get in. Her eating disorder had taken over. And then I had said, well, I would love for Camryn to be in my e-group. That's the best way for me to build a relationship with her, is for her to be in my e-group. The first e-group she came to was Super Bowl night. We had a really crazy conversation. She did not say a word, but every girl at some point cried throughout that night about something very vulnerable and emotional. I think the girls being so willing to open up in front of someone brand new allowed her to feel like she could be a part of this and she could be vulnerable as well. A couple weeks later, a few days later, I had asked them a specific question. I gave them, I think, a Bible verse and then a question to relate to it. And I encouraged them to share it with somebody, either the whole group or myself or my co-lead, Aaron. And we had gotten several back, but hers was the biggest. And she basically spilled all the skeletons in her closet about her eating disorder. It was super emotional for me because I knew how hard it was for her to have this and to suddenly be willing to share it.
It was rhythm night, and that was maybe like my third e-group, and I had brought a friend from school.
I had told her mom that I thought she would share that night. I felt like she was ready, and I felt like for her that was her next step, was to let our group know what was going on.
I just remember I was like shaking, like holding the pen. I was like shaking so much. And I was like, I thought my voice was gonna crack every 5 seconds, and I was like on the edge of tears. And I just remember I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. So Candace was looking at me and I felt it.
When I remember watching, she was sitting directly across from me. And I remember watching her, I could tell she was like getting ready to tell. I could tell she was getting nervous. I could tell she wanted to say something. And she was working on it. And finally she just spilled. And she said, after she said, oh, I feel so much better. Like it was such a relief for her to finally get this out there. There's something about telling people what you're hiding and being vulnerable. It's just huge, and it releases things.
It's still every day it's a push, every day it's a fight. But now I have like the wisdom and the like knowledge to know like, okay, I know that this is not me right now. I would not say this to myself. I would not think this about myself. A lot of times I'll just go and I'll just pray about it. I'll like text Candace a lot. I text her like every day. I'm like, I'm sorry, I know I'm ignoring you, but like I need you.
It's a choice she has to make every single day. You have to choose every day to believe that God has your best interest. And I think that's what's so powerful about her story, is that it's not a like, this is the beginning and this is the end. She's still in it. And I think she'll probably experience this forever, where she has to make a choice. But it's awesome that God can use that. And I think it's awesome that God can show other people that you don't have to be perfect, and God's still going to use you even when he's working on you.